AI is pretty crazy at the moment. ChatGPT can answer most of life's questions, and you can generate art at the click of a button with text-to-image models like Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. I've used a few of these models in the past, and even used Google's Dream Booth to train the AI on images of my face. I got some decent results, but it got me thinking. Could I train the AI on someone else's face and make it look real enough to trick my friends? First, I needed a victim whose identity I could steal. I needed someone who had lots of photos available, and preferably someone who wouldn't sue me for doing this. Luckily, my friend Ryan loves sending selfies to our group chat. He also has no Instagram, so this would provide me with the perfect opportunity to try and fool people, and hopefully, he wouldn't sue me. First, I needed to download the photos of Ryan's face. They were spread throughout a messenger chat that goes back years, and I didn't want to manually search through and download each photo, so I came up with an ingenious plan. I asked the Meta overlords if I could have all the data they've harvested from me over the years, and they mercifully obliged. As soon as the download was ready, I grabbed the files and found all the photos from the chat I needed. Then I uploaded these thousands of photos to Google Photos, which is free and has a very handy facial recognition feature. It works most of the time. All I had to do was search with Ryan's name, and it returned every photo that had his face in it. Out of all these photos, I picked 30 of the best for the AI to train on. For the model to be able to train on the photos, they all needed to be square images the exact same size. So I hopped into Photoshop and went through cropping each one. Next, it was on to the fast Dream Booth Google Colab notebook, made by some absolute legend called The Last Ben. I don't think he's actually a dog. Basically, it makes it super easy to train an AI model. Even someone like me can do it. All you've got to do is follow each step one at a time. You also don't need to have your own fancy computer power, because instead you use Google's. So after uploading the images and pressing the train button, all I had to do was wait. Now I had some model files, I could finally start making the images. For my first prompt, I typed in a portrait of RTDBP, which was the unique token I trained the AI to associate with Ryan. I set the parameters and pressed generate, and this is what I got. What is that? I kept trying different prompts and settings, but it was barely looking like Ryan, and definitely not realistic. It looked like there was something not quite right with the model, so I decided to do some more training. This time, I made sure to only use the more recent images of Ryan. Then it was back to the dreaded training screen. After some more waiting, I had some new models, which would hopefully give me the results I wanted. So it was back to clicking the button over and over, endlessly generating random photos of Ryan's face. Finally, I got some half-decent photos that sort of looked like Ryan. This one would have been good, except for the eyes. Luckily, you can use the in-paint feature, which allows you to regenerate specific sections of a photo. I drew over the eyes and generated some new options. Now I could just pick the set of eyes I wanted. So that was at least one photo of Ryan completed. But if the plan was to make an entire fake Instagram account, then I'd need to include other photos. I thought to myself, what do other people post on Instagram? The answer is, of course, it's Pikachu! No, it's food. So I got to work on making the most realistic and tasty looking food I could. This process took me a lot longer than I thought it would. I kept getting results like this, and like this, but eventually I had a delicious looking bowl of Japanese noodles. Now I just needed to think about what other kind of things Ryan would post on his Instagram. And if there's one thing Ryan loves, it's going to gigs. So I decided to throw in a band photo to really seal the deal. Unfortunately, the AI had a tough time making band members, and getting anyone that looked vaguely human was pretty difficult. But I managed to get a decent shot that was alright if you didn't look too closely. I spent the next couple of hours just prompting and trying to get the best results I could. And in the end, I'd done it. I had 6 photos I reckon were decent enough to go on the gram. I just needed to tidy them up in Photoshop first. For this shot, I needed to clean up the weird looking logo, but that was simple enough. For this one, I got rid of a rogue freckle and then decided to use in-paint to make the stubble look more like Ryan. I painted him on a new beard, and after choosing the variation I thought was the best, the photo was good to go. For this shot of Ryan in a pub, his hair was absolutely clapped, but I don't know how to fix that. So I just have to pray that people didn't notice. The bowl had a weird artifact on it, but that was easy enough to clean up. Also, his fingers did look like sausages, as AI is famously bad with hands. Hopefully that wouldn't come back to bite me later on. The band photo and the food were good to go already. Then it was just a bit of floating building that needed removing from a photo I generated of Prague. This was somewhere he'd been on holiday recently, so I was hoping this would make it more believable. The final touches were all done, so now it was time to create the Instagram account. But first I needed a valid email, so I quickly made a new Google account. So after that was done, I could just sign up on Instagram, and to be honest, it seemed to be going a lot easier than I thought it would. Oh sick, the account's been suspended. After verifying the account with a phone number, I waited for them to do their review, and eventually we were good to go again. The main part of the Instagram would be the profile picture, so I uploaded the strongest photo I had. And then there was nothing left to do but post the photos. First up, it was the band photo. I slapped on a filter for good luck and then decided that the fake band would need a fake name. Luckily, it turns out there's a band name generator online. So I used that and went with Unseen Heresy. Next photo, again I slapped on a filter and then I needed a caption. This time I decided to turn to ChatGPT for help. However, the ideas they came up with were awful. London called and I answered. I decided to go with my own in the end, but to be honest, it was just as cringe. With all 6 of the photos uploaded, there was nothing left to do but find someone to fool. And of course, my immediate choice was the one and only, Kieran Healy. Now it was just time to wait and see what happened. Fairly quickly, there was a message in the group chat from Kieran, who seemed to be buying the fake Instagram so far. Although I hadn't accepted the follow request, so he'd only seen the profile picture at this point. I accepted the follow request and waited to see what he'd say. Was this the moment I'd been waiting for? Would I be able to fool one of Ryan's best friends with an AI generated image of his face? Could Kieran tell the difference between real life and the Matrix? All my hard work, an hour after hour of generating photos, watching countless YouTube tutorials and scrolling through endless forums trying to figure out what the hell I was doing. Surely it hadn't come to nothing. Surely this endeavour couldn't be in vain. This was it. The dawning of a new AI branch of life. Crap, he was on to me. And it was the sausage fingers that had given it away after all. These stupid AI generated hands had let me down. Ryan put up a valiant effort trying to sell the fake Insta, but unfortunately it wasn't long before he realised, and the jig was up. So in the end, it didn't quite work. The photos were decent, but not quite ready to hold up to scrutiny from a close friend. I reckon if you don't know Ryan that well, or squint your eyes hard enough, then they look pretty good. While I hadn't managed to get the results I wanted, it is definitely possible to do if you spend enough time working on it. Deepfakes are already rampant, and AI is getting better by the second. So it's almost certain that one day you'll be fooled by an AI pretending to be a human. Or quite possibly, it's already happened. Why does it look like that? Why is it not working? This is not Ryan.